Brez Scales just made $500,000 in 24 hours with his 3-day cinematic event that he's just run. And this is one of the most hyped up event launches that I've seen in the agency space. We're gonna cover exactly how everything went through, right? To the actual funnel breakdown of how he converted people to the 3-day event, to the exact amount of money that he made with the offers in place, but also with back-end offers that he has in place to essentially upsell people and basically allow him to probably make $2 to $3 million from this funnel alone. These $548,000 are exact numbers that he's been able to make from the conversions on his offer in just one day alone since having launched it. So let's dive straight into it. Now, what can you expect from this breakdown? I'm just gonna speed walk this through and then we'll dive deep. One is the way he announced everything, to then the actual registration page, how he collected the leads, how he qualified them, to making sure the show up rates are as high as possible, to the actual event marketing, right? That he was able to do through the WhatsApp group, through email marketing, through his Instagram page, to the actual launch every single day, what he's covered, what the purpose of each of the days was, to then the final offer of what that looked like and how many people he exactly converted for his front end offer, but also then looking at the back end offers to see how he's upselling people and how he's making millions from this funnel alone. So that being said, let's dive straight into it. Now, first things first, we want to understand the announcement method and how everything got started. So the first touch points that people got was through this trailer video that he put out on his YouTube channel of 360,000 subscribers. And instantly when people saw this, and this was posted 2 weeks prior to the event, people got to see this thumbnail of, right, it being titled The Only Decision, and something that looked like a Netflix production. This was a cinematic high-end production that was scripted out carefully and done right to the very high-end degree. And the whole purpose was to essentially get his ICP, which are college students and people in universities that are starting with their entrepreneurial journey and want to get the edge, right? And essentially get to the stage where Brez is at, get them to resonate with Brez's story, because it essentially portrayed how Brez started in the beginning to also his after, where he's right now, all of the success he's had. And basically the trailer finished off with a CTA to the registration of the event that would then happen in 2 weeks' time. So it was straight to the point, and the whole purpose was for people to begin watching the trailer, but also complete watching it and register at the landing page that we're going to look at. Now, he did a fantastic job at relating to his ICP. As you can see through some of these frames, right, of him being in college, to him gaming, to doing some side jobs. This is essentially the position where his ideal customer profile currently is at, and also they then relate to what Brez has right now, and this is what they want to get. So he did a fantastic job with his announcement trailer video that I haven't seen other personal brands pull off when it comes to launching this funnel. Now, the next thing, when people wanted to register, they would come onto this landing page. Everything was branded with the same thematic that you're going to see right on all of the other videos and all of the other landing pages, but also the domain, right? The domain is the only decision, right? This whole event was around the only decision that allowed Brez Scales to become to where he is right now, and the only decision that people should take to change their life, which then would be linked to the offer he was selling at the very end. So as soon as you get onto the registration page, you would be hit with a VSL landing page. This is typically what people use in a call funnel, right? And he would have a video about 10 minutes long where he would indirectly sell people on the opportunity of what allowed him to become successful, right? And the results he's been able to achieve, how he's been able to help other people, and how he's offering to the public a special event for free that they could sign up for. And again, the whole goal was for people to claim their tickets and for them to build their email list. Now, interesting things he implemented is, for example, this progress bar. As soon as you would click onto the video, the only thing you could do is press play or press pause so people don't get distracted and actually watch the video that converts them and gets them to book their free ticket. And 2 is the bar, which essentially would indicate how far into the video they are. And in the beginning, it would just speed up to let them know, hey, there's much less left. I'm already deep into the video. I might as well watch it to the end. And of course, this speeds up in the beginning and slows down over time. But one of the things he's implemented to increase that completed watch time. Now, you would also have this qualification form, which is what you would need to fill out to get your free ticket. And this is what a lot of people essentially, right, use to understand where the prospect is at and if they're financially qualified, as well as a small FAQ section. Now, once you would start filling out the form, they would ask you very low friction questions to make sure they still have some details about the audience, but to make sure it's not intrusive enough to where they would lose people out registering for this event. Questions like, what's your name? How much money are you currently making? How much money do you want to be making? These are the financially qualifying questions to let them know and put people into buckets of how much money they actually have. And also the email address and the phone numbers so that they would have contact touch points. Now, as soon as you would register, you would also be hit with a registration confirmation page. This is again what you see on call funnels as well. And here he would have a short video of himself congratulating and speaking directly to the audience and telling them the next steps and also what they can expect from this event. Now, emphasis was put on the fact that there's limited spots, right? The fact that this is an exclusive event and essentially building FOMO around it. But he also had snippets on the action steps that people should take, like adding this to their calendar, joining the WhatsApp group, putting this into their primary email inbox. And these are all action steps to make sure that later down the road, all of the prospects that did sign up would remain in the ecosystem and would receive all of the announcement material to make sure that they actually see the event when it launches. Now, as you can see, there's only two things that they wanted to get people to do. One is join the WhatsApp group to be in the ecosystem, and then of course have this event on their Gmail. Now, once they would receive this is where the launch marketing would then come into play. They utilized 3 different social platforms. One was the WhatsApp group, then email marketing, and Instagram. Let's start with WhatsApp first. In terms of WhatsApp, the people would then be brought onto this WhatsApp group, right? I took the screenshot in the very beginning when I had 600 members as soon as they announced it. And as you can see, again, this is all branded and congruent with the theme of the only decision. And as soon as you would join, you would be hit with the cinematic produced video, again, to show, hey, this event is going to be something different to what you've never seen before, right? To build up the FOMO and the hype. And then they would also have a message with how the prospects could add the events onto their calendar. This was again done to make sure that people would then be notified when this would drop. And then the day after, 2 days after, he started sharing selfie videos of himself where he would essentially put these into place so that people could relate directly with him. Because one thing is putting out a cinematic produced video where you feel like everything is already pre-recorded, but the selfie videos then feel like it's more personal and people can relate with these more. So from there onwards, he started sharing selfie videos. And then after that, a few days, right, you wouldn't hear too much on this channel. But when it got to it being 1 day before the event, he would then announce on a selfie video again that he was doing a giveaway of $5,000 for all of the people that would attend every single day of the event and also common scale. And this giveaway was essentially to ensure that the show-up rate is as high as possible by everyone else, because it's essentially a compound effect. The more people that they show up, right, the more likely you're going to be consuming all of it. By the end, you're going to be more nurtured and you're going to get onto the offer, and it's also going to help with the virality of the event. So this was done all prior to the event. On the day of when everything started, he would follow this one sequence which was common across every single day, right? You would see he would essentially build a hype up a few hours before that premiere and the event would start, to then actually dropping the YouTube link to the premiere, and then also once the premiere was done, resend the link for all of the people that didn't get the chance to watch it so that they could watch it in their free time afterwards. And this is what he did for every single day once the event was live. Now, in terms of email marketing, right? I was on the email list and I took some screenshots so you can see exactly how everything worked. As you can see, I'm going to split this up into two sections. One are all of the emails sent prior to the event, and then the emails sent during the event. Prior to the event, the first email you would receive is essentially a welcoming email and one that would get you to join the WhatsApp group and add the event to the calendar. Again, similarly done on the WhatsApp channel as well. Then on the next days, every single day, they would essentially share the story of Brez in a written form, of course, right? Here he would show how he initially started, all of the different business models that he tried out that didn't work for him, how he landed on the agency marketing space, how that allowed him to get some success, to then where he is right now, and all of the luxuries and the lifestyle he's been able to have, and display his journey essentially as an entrepreneur. Then on September 10th, he again wrote emails on financial freedom, right? The importance of being in the entrepreneurship space. And then a few days, 2 days before the event, he would again hype up the WhatsApp group to make sure you join, because that's where all of the giveaway announcements and so would happen. And then on the last day, he would hype up the YouTube premiere and the link so that people would attend. On the day of the event, as you can see here, he sent the same amount of emails like he did before when hyping up the event, just that these were structured differently. And the whole purpose, you can see per day, there was only 3 days. So every day he would send out about 4 emails. And the whole purpose was to remind people the premiere is going to start in a few hours. The premiere just launched. And if you've missed the premiere, here is the link. This is the structure that they essentially followed. And this was again to ensure that they have as much of a show up rate as possible. And on Instagram, the things that you got to note is the main thing he did in the beginning was pin a post of the trailer of the video on his feed, and then days prior to the event he would also hype up the giveaway, how people could actually watch it to have maximum awareness of the event. And then on the day of the event he would again hype up with how many hours till this begins, how people can watch it by clicking on the link. And this was to make sure that there was an omnipresence on every single channel, and so that people would actually tune in on the day of the launch. On the day of the launch, this is what you would see, right? The only videos available on the YouTube channel were all of the cinematic production videos that he put in place. Now, this is where we get to the event. He started September 15th to September 17th. Now, there's 2 functions in this. The first 2 videos, as you can see, were much shorter. The first one was 15 minutes long, the second one was 11 minutes long, and the third video was 45 minutes long. Now, the whole purpose of the first 2 was to put as much cinematic production as possible to share the story that Brez has had when he began to where he's come to, but also to nurture the prospect, build trust, and also want to continue watching the next events. So when you think about it, there was no hard selling done on the first video or on the second day of the event, because the whole goal was to get them to join the last one, where they would see the longer video, which would act as a VSL essentially, right? This is where all of the selling and the offer presentation would happen. So when we come to look at it here, I took some snapshots, because at some point these are going to be taken down. And so for the people that didn't get to see this, this gives you an idea of what was covered. On the first day, he again showed how he started, right, being in college, doing all of the typical things, what his parents thought of him in the beginning. And essentially the video would end with an interactive screen where it would say either you can stay where you're currently at or you can scale. And of course he would then click that he wants to scale, which again fits with his whole branding of Brez Scales. And this is how the first video began. Now in the second day, the second video would essentially show how he tried different business models and how he started seeing some success, and how he was able to change his life, right? What was very interesting to note as well, there was a snippet where Brez was working as flipping burgers, and how there were also other big personal brands like Orange or Peer that people in his ICP are familiar with, would want to interact, would just want to get something, and he would want to interact with them but how they didn't have time, right? And this was again a way of wanting to relate and getting his ICP to relate with his situation and where he's at. And the video then again ended with an option. Either you stay in the 9 to 5 or you quit your job and you begin your entrepreneurial journey. And this is where we get to day 3. Once all of the FOMO was built up to join the last day, and this is where also he would share exactly how he was able to pull it off. This is where all of the selling happened. Now, he did this indirectly like it's done on a VSL. And in the beginning, he would show all of the things he was able to achieve, right? And then he would just maintain one way of presenting the whole video, which was sitting down on the chair like you see right here, speaking directly to the ICP and bringing them through the VSL. Now, one of the things he would cover is the 4 pillars that allowed him to essentially succeed in a space. 1 is mind mastery, 2 is being in the right vehicle, having the right skill set, and 4 is also having the engine. Now, he would mention these because these are also the pillars that he exactly covers in his front-end offer that he's selling. And then after that, he would also show how he's helped other people get to $20,000 per month with the agency model as well as other results, right? Again, things that he would do on a VSL. And at the very end, he would also show with cinematic production what people would get when they would sign up to his front-end offer. And you can see here, this would come with a course, with a community access, with templates. And for the first 500 people, he would build up an exclusivity and scarcity factor to tell them that they would get a special one-on-one onboarding call with people on his team just for $997. And he also showed how there was financing options for the people that would need such an option. And then in the description of every day of the event, right, he then updated them to allow people to click on the checkout and get to sign up for the actual offer. Now, what's very interesting as well is at the end of day 3, he also launched a Q&A video session. This was 1 hour after the live drop. And this was unannounced, but this provided people an opportunity to ask any questions about the offer and to essentially build more trust and get onboarded onto the product, right? So this is what he did then, and of course this was taken down afterwards. And then this is what the funnel, the checkout funnel would essentially look like. People will click on, yes, I want the offer, I want to sign up. Then they would be brought to this lead capture pop-up that would first come up. And here the leads will put in the name, the email address, the phone number. And what this allows Brez's team to do is essentially they already have an email list from the people that registered, but the people that fill out this lead capture pop-up are essentially people that ended up watching most likely the event to the very end, right, and are warm enough to actually want to sign up. So this would put them into a different bucket and allow them to do some further marketing, reach out material that I'm going to show you now in a second. As soon as they would fill that out in, they would be hit with this landing page, which again matched the thematic of the initial registration page. And people could just put in their card details to sign up for the offer, and they would also be presented with a value stack done to show what people would get and how much that would be usually valued at. And the fact that instead of $20,000, right, this would only be for $997, with a little FAQ section as well, touching on any objection handling that people may have as questions, and also clarifying that there is no refunds for it. Now, as soon as people put in their leads, put in their details, if they didn't complete the purchase, Brez then also has his team in place to essentially dial and follow up with the people to get them to join. Now, once joined, let's go into the results of what he was able to see 24 hours after having launched it. So I took a screenshot and was able to find his WAP account to let us know exactly how many people actually joined his front-end offer of $997. And that's 550 people in just 24 hours. When we do some maths, right, times the offer amount, that gets us to the point where he actually made $548,000 in just one day. And as you can see, after one day, his last video had 130,000 views. So to give you an idea, this is a conversion rate of 0.4% on the amount of people he was able to get into his front end offer. Now again, this is going to be live and he's going to be promoting this over the next week too. So this number is going to rise, and he will have made much more from this front end offer by the end of it, probably close to another million, I can very well imagine. But what he also has in place is an upsell offer in the back end. So let's look into this. This is what I was able to find on the WAP as well. And of course, one thing is having a course offer in place for people that want to start getting results. But then there's going to be the people that want to have that closer proximity and want to have more material like coaching calls, right? So this is where we can see his Scale 2.0 ERT offer is for $4,400. Now, this is essentially something he would present to the people. On all of the first 500 people that sign up for the offer that get the one-on-one onboarding call, they will then also most likely be presented by the coaches with the offer to be able to, or the option to be able to upgrade and get that closer proximity. Also, as people in the front end offer start getting results, they then in the future can also be presented this offer to get closer proximity, to start seeing more results as they already are able to generate money and see value from the initial front end offer. And in terms of the upsell, right, what this most likely is going to be is weekly group coaching call from Brez himself once a week. And because he only has so much time, right, he's going to have his team do probably either daily group coaching calls with the people, or maybe they even offer one-to-ones for a certain quantity. And of course, a more exclusive community on top of that as well. So this is what the offer most likely is going to be, but we know it's priced at $4,400. In terms of the conversion rate, right, these are just estimates, but hey, it's conservative to assume that even if he only upsold 20% of all of the people that already paid for the front end offer, that would be 1 out of every 5 front end offer paying customers, right? Out of 550 people from the initial 24-hour leads, that would be $484,000 he would make from the leads he currently has in the first 24 hours. This is not including, right, all of the people that may sign up later down the road to the offer. And so we can say that the revenue from the 3-day event of the leads that they currently have just within 24 hours can be, right, easily $1 million. However, over the long run, right, this is where we can now understand, hey, this funnel could easily be a $2 to $3 million play, because there's going to be more people signing up for the front offer and more people that are then going to be upsold in the back end to a mentorship program where they can work directly on calls with Brez's team. And this is, in a nutshell, how Brez Scales has been able to make $500,000 through his 3-day cinematic event.